Welcome back and thank you for staying with us. We'll be diving right into it. This week has crystallized the deepening national security crisis in Nigeria that drawn serious concern from a major international ally. The gunmen stormed 3 churches in Kaduna, abducting over 177 worshippers. As of today, 166 remain in captivity. Days after the attack, these bandits were reportedly sighted moving their captives freely through forest corridors, a brazen display of impunity. Now, this atrocity has prompted the United States to publicly question Nigeria's ability to protect its own citizens, specifically its Christian communities. Now, this international reproach marks a significant escalation, transforming the crisis from a domestic emergency into a matter of global diplomatic concern. So we are left with urgent questions. What does this specific failure reveal about the tactical and intelligence gaps on the ground, and what are the implications of the powerful external critique from a key partner like the United States? Now, joining us here in the studio is Salihu Mahmoud, a security analyst with extensive on-ground experience in Nigeria's northern region. Thank you very much for joining us this morning.
Thank you very much.
Thank you for coming to Daybreak, Salihu.
To you this morning, this
Good
lovely
morning.
Friday morning.
All right, now let us look at the scope of things when it comes to insecurity. And we have seen the mass abduction that just happened in Kaduna. We've not seen a serious proactive response when it comes to trying to retrieve or rescue these people that have been abducted, that have been captured. And just as I mentioned in this introduction, that the abductors were seen trying to transport the captives in very visible and plain sight, that where they could be tackled. So what do you think is going on with the fiber of our security in Nigeria for it to be able to happen in this way and making them feel more comfortable for more attacks to happen?
Thank you very much. The issues like Hausa had always say, "Ana wata ga wata," as they are trying to comb this side, it is happening in another side. Then the Yoruba people say, a popular musician, Sikiru Ande Barrister, sings, "Gbabe, magbabi, gbabe, magbabi." That is, pass here, don't pass here, pass here, don't pass here. You see, once you leave certain areas ungoverned, this is what you see. And that is why over time, we've advocated for siting of permanent security structure, which is to say, whatever specialized courts you're going to send to certain places, whether in name of Operation Fansanya Mahat, Kai Safe Haven, or what have you, they aren't going to be able to cover every nook and cranny of Nigeria. Nigeria is very large. There are certain forests that are not even motorable. Mm-hmm. You can, recall when we have the train derailment, Abuja, Kaduna, it became a little bit difficult. This is a country where in our forest we don't have CCTV, we don't have hovering helicopters, we don't have drones, and no even cantonment of the land army, talk more of others of the internal security apparatus like the police, civil defense, DSS, and others. And when you are talking about intelligence gathering, the only areas you see them doing showmanship is when Mr. President is traveling out, or when some VIPs come on diplomatic visit, then you see competition with due respect to their efforts. Because I can recall 2 days ago, Operation Fansanya Ma recorded some successes in Timbuktu Triangle area where they neutralized quite a number of Boko Haram insurgents through laying ambush on them. And what made that possible is the combatant and gallantry effort of the who is Major General Abdulsalam Abubakar, accompanied with his combatant and trusted troops, both officers and men. Same way Operation Fansanya Ma recorded success from Augi to Banji, where they also neutralized some fleeing Lakurawa terrorists. You know, most of these terrorists and bandits now, because of the sophistication in onslaught of the members of the armed forces and other security agencies assisting are now transiting from one place or the other. So the issues are, at this point in time, they need to tell us where the so-called drones procured are. What are they doing? What stops the dispatch of 8-hour drones? If you dispatch 8-hour drones in that kind of place, it happened in Kaduna, you'll be able to get. Initially, what did the police authorities say? Nothing like that happened. The community stood their ground. Before the letter came, the spokesperson said the commissioner of police wanted to get briefs from divisional headquarters or maybe the local outpost before briefing. We know that in security, sometimes you don't rush into conclusion. We are there to be adequate security in these areas. It wouldn't have happened.
Now, you made mention that in some situations that security issues they're not supposed to be rushed. But in this particular situation, especially that we do get when it comes to abduction of people, of Nigerians, do you think that it is quite important to put it as an utmost priority in making sure, because it's a matter of urgency and lives are at stake? It is something that needs to be put at the forefront, make sure that they are proactive when it comes to tracking, when it comes to recovering people that have been abducted. Do you think that the Nigerian security forces or armed forces are taking up seriousness, looking at it as a matter of urgency when it comes to tackling or responding to these kind of attacks?
Sometimes their response are slow, and you cannot rule out being overwhelmed in so many things. What is the man force in both the Army, Air Force, Police, DSS, and others? That is why Mr. President of recent said they should recruit more. Presently, recruitment portals have been opened for the Police, Army, Navy, and Air Force. Beyond just that, once you enhance intelligence gathering, you can comb and curb all this, because it is not in every situation you move convoys of Eloxys, gun trucks to go and tackle it. Once the intelligence is there, you do certain abracadabra that they do abroad. For example, if American Marines are to come to Maiduguri area, okay, look at the American forces that came and had collabo with Nigerian military in Jabo, Sokoto State. Nobody knew how they came. In fact, some were even saying they took our government by surprise, but in order to cover up, the foreign affairs authorities had to say our military were in the know and also other things. So I think there should be that exchange programs between Nigeria and countries like United States of America, UK, and others, where just 10 combatant officers, gallant police officers, could go into where these abductors are holding these abductees captive and just rescue them. Americans have done it in Northeast before.
Sally, so can we say, is it, so to say, is it that it's a slow intervention from the government, or they are not doing anything at all? Because I believe that the slow intervention, or maybe they are not doing anything at all, is why there is recurring mass kidnappings from these bandits. Because, I mean, we have all seen in TikTok videos, this bandit comes out to say the government cannot do anything.
Well, we cannot say the members of the armed forces or other security agencies are not doing much.
What will give them that audacity? They come out on videos, and the government have the ability to track these bandits from those videos. Why are they not doing anything?
You see, we have negligence at the part of the NCC. We have negligence at the part of Nigerian Police Force Cybercrime Center. We have a full-fledged Nigerian Police Force Cybercrime Center opposite American Embassy in Area 1. That edifice was built by Central Bank of Nigeria. Sometimes the directives don't come to them. Beyond that, Air Force also have Intelligence Coordination Center, where other intelligence apparatus also uses what have you. What do you find? If you go to the remotest part, you don't find these intelligence gadgets being put into use. You remember in 2020 when retired Brigadier General Adeni came on viral video, a serving member of the Nigerian Army, saying our armored personnel carriers are grounded, this and that. What they are facing at the battlefield is something so disgusting. They are not getting best of equipment, weapons, and best type of support. That is why oftentimes we advocated for overhaul and restructuring of the security architecture. Let the oversight functions of the standing committees of both the Senate and House now swing into action, not to stop them by oversighting, because without supervising, oversighting, certain things cannot be. You see, let's call a spade. Let me give you an example. As the failure goes, some of them knows how to arrest innocent people. A particular Prince Ali Rudans Oho Mahmoud just went to Kainji. Part is Omajib. Intelligence officer from 221 Battalion, Kainji Iwawa there, came and said his Omajib looked like that of the arrested Mahmouda terrorist leader. Took him into custody on a Friday night until a youth went and alerted the prominent people there. They now spoke to the commanding officer, even though transferred now, before he was released the next day. So if they had that kind of intelligence network on innocent people, what stopped this type of intelligence officers going to also know how
That is the exact question
so
we are
sometimes
asking.
they leave reality because of, I don't know, maybe poor training or whatever, because for officers that went through either direct short service or regular combatant course.
Quite clear that we can be able to do all of that when it comes to surveillance, when it comes to intelligence, when it comes to execution. But is it that it is not a priority as much as it is supposed to be for it to be carried out as swiftly and good as possible?
In fairness, internal security lies under the purview of the Nigerian police, with the larger specialized squads like Intelligence Response Team, Special Tactical Squad, Border Police, Counter-Terrorism Police, Police Mobile Force, and what have you, before the withdrawal of some of them by Mr. President from some VIPs that are not backed constitutionally to go along with them. You don't see them in certain areas where these things are happening. Today, the Intelligence Response Team and Special Tactical Squad are underfunded with dilapidated vehicles and equipment. Go to Guzape, former SARS, that is where IRT and STS officers are. Nothing. And they have officers trained for that. Of recent, they started training some counter-terrorism officers in Mopol Squadron in Nasarawa State. What is the job of IRT, STS, and counter-terrorism unit if you equip them? They don't even have what you call gun trucks as the army do. So these ones you see by Air Force and Army, they are just assisting the police. Police has the specialized squads and what have you. Then when you go to civil defense, you have agro rangers. The purview of agro rangers is forests and farms. Where do you find them? Orderlies to chairmen, VIPs, and host of others. So misplaced priority. We cannot leave everything for the Army and the Air Force, even though we know in the Joint Task Force in Northeast and even Operation Fast and other security.
But there was improved security, the increased funding for security in the 2025 budget. What is happening to that funding?
Let's start from divisional headquarters close to you here. If you go to Utakona, how they fuel their ELOCs, you will laugh. Sometimes they will say, go and find the way to do it. Are you not promoting corruption? Even though there are huge allocations, even though I know commissioners of police in FCT and some states put in their best. But what you give the police that 24 hours moves on surveillance, intelligence guide, go to Force CID. If you want to carry inventory, take inventory of their operational vehicles, you will shed tears.
Let me rephrase this question, Salisu. You mentioned two things I would like to ask my question on. You mentioned the massive personnel recruitment, and you mentioned lack of equipment when it comes to weaponry and training.
For the police,
exactly.
Yes.
The president recently declared a national emergency on security and aimed for massive personnel recruitment, right? Now, why hasn't the whole of society approach and increased funding consistently translated into improved security performance on the ground? Why are there still mass kidnappings? Why are there still, this insecurity is becoming, it has become the order of the day. It's no longer news, it's no longer shocking when you hear that there's mass abduction in churches or killings in mosques. What is happening?
You see, the largest structure of security lies with because when you go to every nook and cranny, exception of few, you find at least outposts of the police. They have the largest structure. Army has few, Air Force has few. That police that has purview of internal security from when Buhari took over as military head of state in '84, even the armored personnel carriers that Buhari procured for them, they seized them in the fear that the mobile police could, maybe the police could one day come and stage coup and what's of others. Are you getting my point? And I want to tell you, with all this huge security votes you are hearing, that of the police, the meager that is given, maybe there is crocodile consumption and what have you. Corruption itself, even though it remains allegation, cannot be ruled out because the little they give to them too goes to few pockets of some of the higher echelons. So the issues are, we need to have holistic approach. Police as police trust fund with all sector contribution, private sector, multinational companies contribution and whatever, nothing. It is when you adequately equip the police where you can get better intelligence gathering, because you know the CIDs of olden days that arrested Lawrence Anini, the dreaded armed robber, in the police. Our police goes to Somalia, they go to South Sudan, they get accolades. What is wrong in Nigeria? That is to tell you, poor funding, poor facilities. There are even some of the outposts and divisional area commands that are not habitable. So it is when you adequately fund the police, then you also fight corruption in the police, give them adequate manpower. You can do those of the army. The constitutional expectation of the army, military entirely, is to defend the territorial integrity, the army through the land, airports, air, navy, sea, and maritime waters. So for them now coming to do the job that police, DSS, and civil defense are supposed to be doing, it means something is wrong. So that is why the two chambers of National Assembly, they have committees on security and national intelligence, police, and also other things. Let them rightly do what needed to be done so that police that has larger specialized squads I mentioned to you, CTU, counter-terrorism unit, IRT, intelligence response unit, team, then special tactical squad, special intervention squad, mobile police force, marine police, even air police is there, and host of others. What do you find? It is when there is one VIP or emergency something, you see them within urban centers, but go to border areas. It is laughable. If I give you an example,
with our porous borders, of course.
Well, when you talk about border, they are only a system because constitutionally to immigration and customs are the godfathers of borders.
All right,
so,
now,
but the police, army, DSS, and others also send their operatives there in order to assist this interior ministry operatives.
Now, let's look at other alternatives that some states and local governments have used in making sure that they tackle insecurity. We've seen in Katsina that multiple communities and local governments have gone into peace deals with these bandits and kidnappers. And now when it came to the Katsina state government as well, they tried to do a barter, I believe, releasing or I wouldn't call it negotiation, but releasing some of those bandits from custody. And so far, it has not done anything positive towards curbing that insecurity in Katsina state and making sure that the people do not get attacked anymore. Just of recent, we've seen another attack happen in a community that has had a peace deal with these bandits. So what do you think of that alternative that has been taken, and how do you think it can further affect and increase the spate of banditry and kidnapping in those communities?
You call that non-kinetic approach. You see, any negotiation whatsoever with non-state actors, we've never supported it. These are people that made people orphans, widows, and widowers. Just like the chief of defense staff retired, that is now Minister of Defense Staff, said, any governor or what have you negotiating with non-state actors, he is doing it on his own. You don't negotiate with people that killed other people, whatever peace you want to achieve. There and then, there were communities in Zamfara that had this kind of a peace deal with Bello Turji. At the end of the day, he didn't live up to expectation. He came in the public, he killed some of them. Mm-hmm. It also happened in Katsina. So I think governors and local government chairmen must desist from negotiating with non-state actors. Let me use the words of late former Inspector General of Police. Fire for fire. Let it be fire for fire. You see, we have better training for members of our armed forces. That's why we call them regular combatant officers, short service officers, direct short service officers, then those of the gallant officers of the police, DSS, and other paramilitary. They are well trained. Give them the necessary things, boost their morale through welfare, hazards, insurance, accommodation, periodical trainings, and host of others, including modern gadgets. they will live up to expectation. Mr. President has consented to forest guards bill. They will be combing the forest, then others too. So I think what the federal government that is in charge of security in the country must do is by making sure the security votes given to governors are judiciously used, because sometimes too they do not complement the efforts of their commissioners of police, commanding officers, base commandant of Navy, Air Force and others. When Bola Ahmed Tinubu was governor of Lagos State, he complemented the effort of the various security agencies in Lagos. Marwa, as military administrator, set up Operation Sweep. When Tinubu took over in 1999, it metamorphosed into Rapid Response Squad. The AIG in charge of Special Protection Unit, Tunde Disu, then as a DSP, started leading the Rapid Response Squad in Lagos. Is today an AIG. It gathered momentum. Same way is given vehicles to Navy, is given to police, civil defense, customs, immigration, NDLA, road safety, police, army, Navy, Air, and a host of others. And gadgets, bulletproof vests, and every other thing, including gunboats. Even though we cannot compare Lagos with other states, but other states like Rivers and Anambra also followed suit. Kano did it, and some few KB of recent, they did it, but their best isn't enough. States like Katsina, Zamfara, Kwara, Niger, Borno has been doing it too, must also follow suit. That security vote is not for you to charter aircrafts for your first ladies, for your friends and family, or for you to buy 5 million Bobariga, Versace shoes, or what do you call it, and also for others. The essence of that is for security.
I wanted to ask that now, just of recent, the United States has provided Nigeria with some equipment and a gadget as well. Do you think that it will be properly utilized in making sure that it is used in combating insecurity in Nigeria? As you've mentioned earlier, there are some situations where they do have the equipment, they do have ways of gathering intelligence, but it is not utilized properly. Do you think that these particular ones that have been provided would be used in curbing insecurity?
Well, US is not the first to give us. During Bahari, of blessed memory, Jordanian royal family gave us some fighter jets, and they've been using it. So I believe our military, with the support of United States, will put them into better use through training the officers and men designated for their usage to know how to use them. Sometimes it is not just being donated. Do you know how to use them? Because there are certain modern sophisticated weapons that don't have that type of training in NDA, Armed Forces Command and Staff College, or other training, what have you, of the armed forces. So I think the defense eye authorities, that is the Minister of Defense, Chief of Defense Staff, Chief of Army, Air and Army, what have you, should ensure that people, officers, are given that mandate to handle them, given that proper training in order not to have error. Like Tutumbiri, don't forget, when they wrongly dispatched drone to innocent Muslim Maulid worshippers, thinking they were non-state actors. So
okay, Sally, so let's talk, let's go, like, moving forward, what's your outlook on Nigeria's security situation in the next 6 to 12 months, and what step can be taken to improve it, in your opinion, as a security expert?
Well, my expectations are very high. Then again, my advice to them is to, enhance intelligence gathering. Because when you gather intelligence, you avert even ambushes. Because once you know that the Bello Turji boys are here, the Iswa, Boko Haram, or Dogogide boys or Lakura are here, once your convoy is to move, or maybe you are to dispatch fighter jet, or you are hitting the target and you are getting the target, you are not killing your own people. So that should be done. All the sectors and sections of the armed forces and the security agencies have their intelligence apparatus. Then again, we have Tucano. Tucano lasts for 4 hours. I wonder why these Tucanos are still kept in some parts of Niger State. We knew how difficult it was for America to sell them to us. Alpha Jet you dispatch has, capability of less than 1 hour. It has to come back to base. But the Tucanos can last for 4 hours. That is to tell you, you dispatch Tucano to Mandara or Tumbus Hills in northeast or Kanji Wildlife Forest of Wawa or other forests of Augi, they will be able to carry out onslaught against these non-state actors. Because don't forget, there are also foreign supporters of these non-state actors, because there are countries that don't wish Nigeria well because of jealousy.
All right.
All right,
Thank you very much,
Saliu Mahmood, for shedding so much light on what is going on when it comes to insecurity in Nigeria and solutions to prefer. And with that, we'll be going on a quick break. When we come back, we'll be diving into our newspaper review. We'll be looking at the front pages and see what made it there. So make sure you stay tuned. We'll be right back.